Justin Ork here from Grunt Style, coming to you live from Las Vegas, Nevada, where we just got done with the third week of Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, where none other than Kyle "Guns Up" Stewart, who's actually a good friend of mine, competed as the co-main event, and we'll get into that here in a little bit. But first, Kyle, strong fight, obviously not the finish you were looking for, but still a great fight. Maybe you could tell me a little bit more about that.
The very beginning of the round, I had gotten taken down, and my team and we kind of kept it under wraps for a while. I don't make excuses, but my performance is, I'm capable of a much better performance than that. About 2 weeks ago, before the fight, I was training, sparring, we're going pretty hard, and my shoulder had popped out of socket, my left shoulder. So, you know, I was going to pull out of the fight. I didn't know whether I was going to fight or not, but thinking about it, I was like, you know what, this is my shot, man. I got to go for it, you know. So I went and I did the fight, and my shoulder hadn't popped out, and it felt good. It was getting stronger, and like when you're going 100, there's a difference between training and going 100% live in a fight. And when we hit the ground earlier, you kind of hear me go ow, like and even Jason Jackson, my opponent, he was like, he kind of stopped for a second, and I was like, no, let's go. But the fight, you know, I feel like I looked a little vulnerable in the wrestling department due to the fact that I was very worried, conscious about my shoulder, and, you know, didn't want to get slammed on it, didn't want to get finished like that. But I was able to come back. I think the end of the first round, I hit him with a right hand that dropped him. And then another injury, unfortunately. Nobody ever wants to win by injury, whether it would have been my shoulder or his ankle. Nobody ever wants to win like that. I wasn't 100% going in the fight, and he. You know, it's to me, a win like that is like there's like a question mark on the end of it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I did drop him with the right hand, but as he fell, he had injured his ankle, dislocated it, and then the beginning of the second round, I hit him with a low kick, and I was watching, and I saw his whole ankle pop out, and I could see it. I could tell there was like something wrong, so I stopped immediately, and that's when they called the fight.
You mentioned you're 8-0. You're probably one of the more active fighters in your region of the country.
Yes.
You know, we talk about you starting to fight in 2013, your amateur career. You've only been a pro for 2 years.
Yeah.
You have 8 fights under your belt. 8-0, you're undefeated. You know, 6 of which come in some sort of finishing. You know, two fights have only actually gone to decision. Talk to me about how, when you started your amateur career, because I served with you, I know what you were going through each and every day. I remember coming off post and watching you hitting the bags in the damn piece of shit weight room that we had in Afghanistan. Tell me about how you developed your career into where it is today, and going 8-0 in 2 years, and overall the entirety of your fight career.
Yeah, you know, so right now I'm 8-0. I'm glad, not happy with how the fight went, but I got out with a win. You know, with dealing with the shoulder, you know, I didn't get the contract, but I still got a win. You know, it doesn't hurt me. But looking back at my career, I went pro 2 years ago. 2 years ago, and since then I'm 8-0. This was actually my 4th fight of the year. This is my 4th fight in 7 months.
Yeah.
And you know, I told myself at the beginning of the year that I was going to fight 5 times in 2017, so I'm looking to fight 1 more time. But as you were saying, I went pro when I was in the Marine Corps. I'm not pro, but I began my mixed martial arts career when I was in the Marine Corps. I've been doing martial arts my whole life, but in 2010, that's when I started training out in 29 Palms with Fight Club 29. Shout out to Coach Mark Galetko out there. And I started training out there, and I started fighting as an amateur. And I built up an amateur record of 9-1, so I had 9 wins and 1 loss. And then it kind of clicked in my head. It was like, look, I could stay in the Marine Corps and keep deploying and doing that over and over, or I could open up another chapter. I did 3 combat deployments. You were on 2 of them.
Yeah.
Did 3 combat deployments, and at the time that I re-enlisted, I told myself, I was like, look, you're either going to life it up or you're going to have to go a different direction. But I told myself, hey, I'm being successful at mixed martial arts. I want to get out. I want to pursue a career as a professional. So that's when you bring up seeing me training in Afghanistan, that's something that really motivates me, because I have a lot of guys that get behind me that remember seeing me shadow box after patrol, or having Doc Lett hold mitts for me, or Julio Castellanos hold mitts for me. We get off post on my last deployment in 2013. We get off post, it'd be 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, and be like, hey, let's go hold mitts. And he held mitts for me for an hour, and I would just work mitts. And it's really awesome. It's really, to me, seeing him as I walked out to the cage tonight, you know, it was like inspiring, because I thought to myself, I remember when we were in Afghanistan in 2013, and we'd come off a post, and this dude would sit there and hold mitts for me. Right. So it was awesome to have him there to watch that, moment. Me, you know, I didn't get the nod, but to take that next step, I got the win. Yeah. You know, the big thing with me, and this is what I tell people all the time, and it sounds cliche, is to all the people that are following me, I have like a tidal wave of momentum in the veteran community. People that are following me, watching me be successful. Every time I fight, I can't even look at my phone right now. My fight was, what, 3-4 hours ago? I literally have hundreds of messages, either text messages, Snapchat, Facebook messages, whatever, of guys that I served with and people that I didn't even know that are just like, dude, we're proud of you. We're proud of what you're doing. You're representing the Marine Corps well. And to me, that's the biggest thing that inspires me to keep going. Yeah. You know, being a vet, seeing the veteran community, and seeing a lot of guys in dark spaces, a lot of guys trying to find success outside of the military. You know, and to me, that's when I go and I fight, I think about those guys, and I think about how they're watching me and how they want to see me be successful. And to me, that's a bigger purpose than when I started fighting in mixed martial arts. I just did martial arts my whole life. It was something I wanted to do. But as I kept winning and kept growing and became something significant, people started getting behind me and backing me, and that's what I fight for now, man. That's you know, my goal is to make it to the UFC, to fight in the UFC, to make some noise, and to show the veteran community that we are still capable of being great outside of our military.
Right. So
we're fucking grunts, man, right? We're fucking grunts. That's like exactly what I'm talking about. I jacked up my shoulder 2 weeks ago, right? Any fucking normal human being, after jacking up their shoulder, could be like, you know what, I'm pulling out of this fight. No, fuck that. I'm a 0331 United States Marine Corps infantry machine gunner. I'm gonna go fuck this dude up.
I remember.
That's what goes on in my fucking head.
I actually remember watching this Snapchat that you posted of you walking out of the doctor's office. You're like, well, tore my rotator cuff. Looks like we're fighting. And I was like, all right, man. Sweet.
Yeah, it was a partial tear in my rotator cuff. It wasn't. I decided in my head, because I was going to the VA to get my stuff done. We all know about working with the VA. I was like, just tell me what's wrong with my shoulder. And I clicked in my head, I was like, you know what, fuck this. I can throw a jab. So I can still fight. You know, and then the guy I was fighting was a striker. And he tried wrestling me, which is when I was like, oh shit, immediately. But I said it in my head. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm not gonna fucking make an excuse. I'm gonna go and fucking fight, and let the cards fall where they fall. But that's where I was at going into that. Regardless of what happened, I was gonna go fight that dude.
Yeah. So you talk about what drives you and how you've kind of developed in your career. One of the staples of your performance, every time you come out, you got the Marine Corps flag, right? You got the Marine Corps flag, you go in, you take care of business, and then at the end of the fight, you always mention all your boys. You make sure you hit off the list. What's something, though, that you could take from your military career and transfer over to your MMA, like the one thing that has stuck with you that's helped you succeed in both the military and in mixed martial arts?
You know, and I say this all the time, and people don't understand it. They think it's cliche, and I think it definitely sounds cliche, but coming from me, like, I know what it means. You remember what it's like to walk across an open field. You're about to get into a gunfight. Same field where dudes have been shot at before. Like, you know when shit's about to go down, right? And you get that anxiety, and you get that fuck. But then, before you step off, you're like, you know what? I could get killed, but I ain't going out like a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I get when I walk to the cage. So when I hold that flag up, I am accountable. When I hold the Marine Corps flag up, I'm fucking accountable to every person who I've ever served with. You know, and we had boys that didn't get to come home, and they don't get to pursue greatness anymore. So I'm going to do that every time I walk out. When I hold that fucking flag up, that's what I'm fighting for. The people that don't get a chance to continue their lives. To continue to pursue greatness outside of the military. You know, I think of guys like Staff Sergeant Lucas when I walk out and I fight, and I think about him looking down and being happy for me and what I'm doing with my life now. And you better fucking believe that I get knocked out, that's acceptable.
Right.
If I get knocked out and that is acceptable, but I won't fucking quit.
Right.
Just like when I'm in the cage and the dude takes me down and I feel my shoulder pop out of place and I'm thinking, holy fuck. Nope, get up, bitch, fucking fight. You know, like that's what I'm thinking in my head.
Yep.
And that's what I take with me into the cage, because people I don't think people understand that. People don't understand that, like, that type of mentality. When I walk into the cage, like, I'm ready for fucking war.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know? And I've been there before where it's, you're walking across that field, you're about to get in that gunfight, and you're ready for fucking war.
Yep.
You know, regardless of what happens. I've accepted that the worst thing that could happen is I get fucking highlight reeled, and I get knocked out, and everybody sees it, and it goes viral, and I go, you know what? Nobody's gonna die.
Right.
You know, like,
and you didn't quit.
I didn't quit. I'm gonna man up. Regardless of what happens, I'm coming out to fight this dude.
Right.
You know? And I think that kind of showed in the fight. The beginning of the fight, he was able to take me down. He dominated position. He was landing good shots. And I got back up, and I was like, it's my turn now.
Right.
You know? And that's when I was able to drop him. And, you know, that's the big thing that I want to get across to everybody is, with this following, is I feel like it's my purpose. I feel like it's the bigger than me fighting is to inspire others, inspire other veterans to pursue greatness outside of the military.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I like Grunt Style. Like, Grunt Style it's my mentality. You know what I'm saying? Grunt Style it's a mentality. It's not just it's a
lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. That's how you live your life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I may not be able to get to go to war anymore,
right.
but you better fucking believe that warrior has never left my fucking heart, my soul, and my spirit. So when I go and I fight, that's what I am. That's fucking Grunt Style. The man who was an entrepreneur, who set up his own business, who was a military vet, that's fucking Grunt Style.
Right.
The man who's a successful dad and a husband and a successful father and doing everything he can for his family to provide for them, that's fucking Grunt Style.
Yep.
The man who gets out of the military becomes a cop. The man who becomes a firefighter. All of that, like, you have an obligation to be great.
Yep.
Because you were in the military. For me, the Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps. I have an obligation to be phenomenal. And I'm going to do that every time I step into the cage. And for me to do that, I may do it in a cage. It gets a little more spotlight. But I want to use that to inspire the firefighter, to inspire the police officer, to inspire the father, the entrepreneur. Whatever you're doing with your life, the vet that's going to school living off the GI Bill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that. Get straight A's.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, be successful. Because we are obligated to be great. We have an obligation to be much, our bar is so much higher than others. We're obligated to not just live life, man. To be successful. And yeah, I'm a fucking vet, and I'm here, and I'm gonna fucking dominate.
Yeah, so you talk about inspiring all these people, and there's one thing, you do have a huge following, probably more than most people who are on your level. And it probably has a lot to do with the fact that you were in the military, you were in the Marine Corps. You know, what would you like to tell them at this point in time in your career, coming off of the Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series? You're 8-0. You didn't get a contract, but you're still 8-0, undefeated. What would you like to say to all of them?
You know, what I want to say to everybody who's following me, continue to follow me. It's like I just said. I'm fucking Grunt Style up here. I'm a fucking 0331 infantry machine gunner. I didn't get the nod, but that ain't gonna fucking make me quit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get into the UFC, and I know where there's holes in my game, and I'm gonna keep going forward. And I'm going to make it into the UFC because that's where I have an obligation to be great. I'm going to make it in the UFC, and I'm gonna make fucking noise when I get there. And where I say I want to be the example is I want people to see that. I want people to see that Kyle Stewart fought tonight and didn't get into the UFC. I won the fight, but I didn't get that. So when I do make it, you have an example to see. Look, life's going to knock you down. You're not going to get everything you want. Everything's not going to go your fucking way. But you got to keep going forward. And that's what I want to see. That, to me, to inspire other people who were once like me, who didn't believe themselves, who come from the family of the Marine Corps infantry that I have, that I come from, to inspire those people to achieve success in their own life. That's what this is. Fuck the money, fuck the fame, fuck all that.
Yeah.
I want other people to strive to be great because they've seen me be great.
Yeah. Awesome. So, 8-0, what's next?
What's next? I said I was going to fight. I'm a big believer in, positive thoughts and positive thinking, and that's why, since I didn't get in the UFC, I'm gonna continue to be positive. I said I was gonna fight 5 times in 2017. This was my 4th fight, and I won 4 fights. I'm gonna fight 1 more time this year before the end of the year. 2018, I'll be in the UFC. Bet on that. 2018, I'll be in the UFC. But as of right now, I'm just going to continue to train. I need to get my shoulder better. Yep. I was stubborn. I wanted to take the fight. I need to go find out what's wrong with it if I have to get surgery on it. But I plan on fighting again before the end of the year. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. I said I was going to win 5 fights in 2017, and I'm going to win 1 more fight to make it 5.
All right. So, guys, you heard it here first. Kyle Guns Up Stewart, my guy. Make sure you tune in to Dana White Tuesday Night Contender Series every Tuesday, only on UFC Fight Pass. Check out Kyle Guns Up Stewart on Facebook, IG. Make sure you check him out there. Like you heard him say, he's not going nowhere. He's going to be here for a while, so check him out. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next week, Tuesday. Thanks.